I'd like to extend the peace of the God of Israel to each and every one of you, and welcome you once again to a holy convention of NCCI, the Yahweh Elohim is seen fit to sit here in Atlanta. Surely Yahweh has been merciful to us in bringing us hitherto. So let us think about these things, because truly the time of our deliverance is at hand. And if we haven't completed the things that has been sanctioned by the Spirit for us to be about, then truly we shall not be saved, because the mouth of Yahweh has spoken it. Like the scripture says, woe to the man that puts his hand to the plow and look back. And a lot of us, sometimes what we do is we come here and we receive the holy things of the children of Israel. And then once we receive these things, it makes us think that we are somebody special. And then what we have a tendency to do is turn back and say, well, look what I've done. Look what I've done. You haven't done anything with the Spirit. I thought it was the Spirit that does all things. But then man put himself in a position to where he think he's a God because of his knowledge, and he get off into a lot of things that man shouldn't deal with, simply because, like I said before, man think himself to be someone. But what we're going to do today, we're going to read about somebody that truly was someone. And then later on, in other classes, we're going to follow through and see the things that was given to us, the instructions that was given to us of the new order thing, because there was a change made about things in the New Testament. This is why they call it the New Testament. We know that the oracles pertaining to the priesthood was changed, because the Messiah didn't come out of the house of Levi, and Levi was given these things. So the priesthood was changed and set aside to bring about certain righteousness among the children of Israel. So let us consider these things, because truly what the scripture says, that's exactly what it meant. But Brother Steve, read the oracles of the church and invite him who stands at the door, that he may come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may continue to read out of this great legacy, and consider what we read, that we might do what's necessary to be saved.
I'm going to read the oracles of the church beginning at 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man have received a gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim giveth, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yeshua HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for the anointed one's sake have forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love, as the anointed one also have loved us, and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be one's name among you, as becometh saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks.
Amen.
Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
Amen. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the church. I have this class title, The Sacrificing of the Lamb. And what we're going to try to do today, I tried to put this class together to you step by step in the New Testament, but I messed around over here and let Satan throw me a curve here this morning after Brother Isaiah left. We had the water running in the pool. Yeah, y'all know just about what happened, don't you? I came out, when I thought about it, water was running out the front door up there. And I had to get up all of that water and everything out there so we could have, it could be dry when y'all came in here this morning, but then stuff happens. I like to start our class today in Might as well, my brother. It needs baptizing too. I'd like to start our class today in St. Matthew chapter 3, and we're going to pick this up at verse. We're going to pick this up at verse chapter 3 and verse 13. Matthew chapter 3 and verse 13.
Then came Yeshua from Galilee to Jordan unto Johanan to be baptized of him. But Johanan forbade him, saying, I have need to be baptized of thee, and do you come to me? And Yeshua answering unto him said unto him, Suffer it to be so now, for thus it becometh us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he suffered him.
Right. See, John forbade him because John knew that he needed to be baptized also, because John knew that he was the forerunner of the coming of the kingdom. So he knew that he needed to be baptized too. But the Messiah told him, said, look here, it suffered to be so now, but thus it becomes us to fulfill our righteousness. In other words, it becomes us to do the will of God. The priest had to be washed. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 16. And Yeshua, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him. Amen. And he saw the Spirit of Elohim descending like a dove and lighting upon him. And lo, a voice from heaven saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.
Now that's the first time that Yahweh spoke in the New Testament, right? Mm-hmm. The first time. He only spoke 3 or 4 times in here. This is the first time he spoke. This is why I don't see why people can go in here and say, well, God said and God said, when actually God did say it through an emissary, but they didn't get the whole story. What they got was a confirmation of certain things that were said pertaining to the New Testament. Mm-hmm. But go ahead and read, brother.
Matthew, chapter 4, verse 1. Then was Yeshua led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward hungry. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of Elohim, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Elohim. Mm-hmm. Then the devil took him up into the holy city, and set him on a pinnacle of the temple, and says unto him, If thou be the Son of Elohim, cast thyself down. For it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning you, and in their hand they shall bear you up, lest at any time you dash your foot against a stone. Mm. Yeshua was saying unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt Yahweh thy Elohim.
Right, why should I jump off this place here? Mm-hmm. See, I know I'm going to be saved, but if I jump off here just because you say so, then I'm going to be tempting my God, and I might die.
Right.
We don't think of those things when we get up into our little idiosyncrasies that we deal with. See, what we have a tendency to do, we have a tendency to think of self more than what's written in this word here. And that ain't gonna work. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 8. Again, the devil took him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showed him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and says unto him, all these things will I give you, if you will fall down and worship me. Then says Yeshua unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship Yahweh thy Elohim, and him only shall you serve. Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him.
Right, you see the brother's instruction? But see, what a lot of us get off into is we end up serving ourselves of our Creator. In other words, we do a lot of things and we don't do the works, and we do what? We cause our Creator, because of who we are and because of the gift that we have received, we cause our Creator to serve us in our atrocities. And Yahweh is going to write that down. Yeah. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 12. Now when Yeshua had heard that Johanan was cast into prison, he departed into Galilee. And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Europeans, the people which sat in darkness saw great light. And to them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light is sprung up.
And what do we read in that same prophecy? It says, Yahweh has sent a word into Jacob, and it has lighted on Israel, right? The word came to Israel, those that sat into the valley of the shadow of death, simply because we were in covenant with our Creator. But when we look around today, I hear Europeans talking about being in covenant with the Creator, being in covenant with the Creator. And I keep asking, show me the covenant that was made with anybody except people of the house of Israel. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 17. From that time, Yeshua began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Amen. St. Luke 4 and verse 14. St. Luke 4 and verse 14. St. Luke 4 and verse 14. I'm going to go with this as far as I can. I got some things a little bit. I think I got a few things a little bit. I'm going to try to give you the events as things happen. But I think in my with the things that happened this morning, I think I got a little bit overzealous, and I think I got a few things that's in the ending of this out of place. And if I run into that, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop right there, and then next week I'll come in, and that'll give me a chance to go ahead and get this back together. I want to give it to you just like it happened, just like it was written down, instead of what I think of what I feel. St. Luke 4, and pick this up at verse 14.
And Yeshua returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Shabbat and stood up for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found a place where it was written, the Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised.
And how was he going to set at liberty those that was bruised? See, it was through the new covenant that he would heal the brokenhearted, right? And to preach deliverance to the captives, to preach deliverance from what? From sin, and recovering of sight to the blind from the deception of sin, right? And to set at liberty them that are bruised through baptism and teaching them the truth. So go ahead, because our fathers had gotten off into what our fathers are off into today, the traditions of men.
Right.
Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 19. to preach the acceptable year of Yahweh. And he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister and sat down. And the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears.
This day is this scripture here fulfilled in your ears. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go and show that if this was a scripture, we're going to find that a lot of times people came and did so much, but the scripture kept going.
Mm-hmm.
So this let us know that these are the things that was going to happen at a later date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go and read that. Let's go in Isaiah 61 and read that.
Amen.
Isaiah chapter 61 and pick that up at verse 1, my brother. Isaiah chapter 61 and verse 1. Excuse me.
The spirit of Adonai Elohim is upon me, because Yahweh have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh, and the day of vengeance of our Elohim.
Now, he said to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh, and then he closed up the book and gave it back to the minister and say, this day, this scripture is fulfilled in yours. In other words, this is all I'm sent to do this time.
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of times we get off into things and we don't know when to stop.
Amen.
See,
Amen.
we'll go so far and we'll say, well, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of this. It may not be time to get
Praise
that done
God.
yet.
Amen.
So what you have to do is go to this step, then go to the next step, reserve things until the Spirit brings those things to you to put those things in place.
Mm-hmm.
But see, most of the time what we want to do is we want to run headlong through everything, and it don't work like that. It don't work like that because certain things has to be done in the congregation before other things can happen. We have to set certain things in place before we can move forward to these things. And then a lot of times what happens is people get bent out of shape because you don't want to do what they want you to do at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it because it's not time to do it. You have to move when the Spirit give you leeway to move, and not when man deals with these things.
Amen.
And what happens most of the time is when you don't go so far, people get bent all out of shape.
Right.
And then they want to go and do something else. And that's what causes problems. This is why we run around and we run into some same problems in this congregation here that we're gonna read about. Go ahead and read, brother. And we can all see it. You know why? All of us come in here and look and see something. You know what we quick to do then? Become tattlers. Becoming busy about it. Child, did you see such and such a thing? Well, you don't know the whole story, so why you open your mouth? Go ahead and read, bro.
Last part, verse 2.
See, we don't know why people do certain things that they do. And then we'll see these things, and we'll say, child, did you see what so-and-so and so-and-so did? Yeah, child, I wouldn't have did that for nothing in the world. Well, you know, they got me coming over here and calling themselves, studying the word and so forth and so on. You don't know what that person's up to. If you don't know half of the story, keep your mouth shut. And then if you know the whole story, then what happens when you get to sitting down and talking about these things breeds up animosity. And it's so discord in the congregation, and folks be sitting around talking about, it's a lot of stuff going on over in that congregation. Right, if you niggas keep your mouth shut, it won't be. Go ahead and read, brother.
To comfort all that mourn, verse 3. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called the trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahweh, that he might be glorified.
Amen.
And they shall build the oasis, and they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But you shall be named the priest of Yahweh. Men shall call you the ministers of our Elohim. You shall eat the riches of the Europeans, and in their glory shall you boast yourselves. For your shame you shall have double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double, everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I, Yahweh, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offerings. And I will direct their work, and I will make an everlasting covenant with
You
them.
see what he said? He said, I will direct their work in truth. In other words, it will be done through the Spirit, not man, right? Okay, go ahead, bro.
Verse 9. And their seed shall be known among the Europeans, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which Yahweh hath blessed. I will greatly rejoice in Yahweh. My soul shall be joyful in my Elohim. For he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causes the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so Adonai Elohim will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations.
Amen.
For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth.
For Zion's sake I will not hold my peace, because if he held his peace, Zion will be destroyed. We are Zion, and we will be destroyed with this country here if he held his peace. But see, what he did was, he sent forth fishers to fish the holy children of Israel, so that they may have opportunity to be saved, because we got a quota. And we must reach that quota. The number is already written down, and we have to attain to these things. No one knows what the number is. This is why I tell people, look, if you come over here just to hear the word, and you don't want to do the works, you need to find you someplace else to go to church, because the Messiah said you're going to be judged by your every word and your works. See, the scripture tell us, say, look, when you have done the law, we'll keep the law, and say, aren't I in sport? Aren't I righteous? I kept the law, right? When you only did what was your duty, that ain't going to get you saved. You got to go above and beyond the law. Look at the people in the New Testament, see, didn't all of them go beyond the law? They even went so far as to set laws in place, didn't they? Okay, go ahead and read, bro.
Verse 2. And the Europeans shall see your righteousness, and all kings shall glory, and you shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of Yahweh shall name. You shall also be a crown of glory in the hand of Yahweh, and a royal diadem in the hand of your Elohim. You shall no more be termed forsaken, neither shall your land any more be termed desolate, but thou shalt be called Hephzibah, and thy land Beulah. For Yahweh delighteth in you, and your land shall be married. For as a young man marrieth a virgin, so shall your sons marry you. And as the bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall your Elohim rejoice over you. I have set watchmen upon your walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. You that make mention of Yahweh, keep not silence, and give him no rest, till he establish and till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Yahweh hath sworn by his right hand and by the arm of his strength. Surely I will no more give your corn to be meat for your enemies, and the sons of the strangers shall not drink your wine, for the which you have labored. But they that have gathered it shall eat it and praise Yahweh. And they that have brought it together shall drink it in the court of my holiness. Go through the gates. Prepare you the way of the people. Cast up the highway. Gather out the stones. Lift up a standard for the people. Behold, Yahweh hath proclaimed unto the end of the world. Say you to the daughter of Judah, behold, your salvation cometh. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. And they shall call them the holy people, the redeemed of Yahweh. And you shall be called sought out, a city not forsaken.
Amen and amen. Luke 4 and verse 22. St. Luke 4 and verse 22.
Verse 22. And all bare him witness, and wondered at the gracious words which proceeded out of his mouth. And they said, is not this Joseph's son?
Ain't this Joseph's son? See what it's saying? Now, he had been called Son of God, right? A voice said, this is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased, right? And what did the people say? Ain't this Joseph's son? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 23. And he said unto them, you will surely say unto me this proverb, physician, heal yourself.
Take care of your own business before you come and try to talk to us. Why don't you heal yourself first, man? Well, who healing you? Go ahead, brother.
Whatsoever we have heard done in Capernaum, do also here in your country. And he said, yes, I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country.
No holy man is accepted among his own people. You know why? People get to know him.
Right.
And people get to see and say, well, he's sinful just like I am, or she's sinful just like I am. So what makes them so holy? Right? Holiness comes from God. Holiness is appointed to man. And there's nothing that we can do about it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 25. But I tell you of a truth, many widows were in Israel in the days of Elijah, when the heaven was shut up 3 years and 6 months, when great famine was throughout all the land. But unto none of them was Elijah sent, save unto Sarepta, a city of Sidon, unto a woman that was a widow. And many lepers were in Israel in the time of Elisha the prophet, and none of them was cleansed, saving Naaman the Syrian.
We had many lepers, right? Many holy folks in the children of Israel rather than the land, right? But who was healed? A European.
Right.
Like the Messiah said, if I would have went to the Gentiles, they would have heard me. But all day long have I stretched out my hand to a disobedient and gainsaying people. We'll go to them European church and do everything they ask us to do. But then we'll come over here and do it all our lives. Then we claim we hear the truth, and we'll come over here and know what we want to do. We want to balk at things. But we do just what them crackers tell us to do, don't we?
Right.
Yeah. Go on and read, brother. And when I use words like crackers, don't think I'm calling people dirty names. If you check the history of Georgia, the people Georgia, the first settlers, they were called crackers. As a matter of fact, they had a baseball team called the Georgia Crackers. Right. Okay. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 28. And all they in the synagogue, when they heard these things, were filled up with wrath, and rose up and thrust him out of the city, and led him unto the brow of the hill whereon their city was built, that they might cast him down headlong. But he, passing through the midst of them, went his way and came down to Capernaum, a city of Galilee, and taught them on the Sabbath.
Right, they hated this brother.
Right.
You know why they hated this brother? Because his brother stayed off in their stuff, and this brother was doing things that they couldn't do. That's why. Go ahead, brother. It didn't make no difference whether he was the Son of God or who he was. They hated him because of his works. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 33. Verse 32, I'm sorry.
And we do the same thing. We do the same thing. The scripture tell us, say, rebuke not an elder, but entreat him out as a father, right? And we got folks around here, one of these elders around here can say something, and they'll jump up, run all up in the mouth when they should keep their mouth shut. But they don't think of that. You know why? Because they know folks. Go on and read, brother.
Luke chapter 4, verse 32.
Y'all know when I was going to a church in Chicago, the brother that was my teacher, I wouldn't dare say anything against that brother. You know why? I knew he was standing in Yahweh's stead. I didn't care what he did. That was between him and his God. My thing was, I wanted this word here. See, because I knew that Yahweh had a job for me, and I wanted to find out what it was. So when that brother got off in his atrocities, that was between him and his Creator. I was in church on Saturday. Go ahead and read it, brother.
Luke chapter 4, verse 32. And they were astonished at his doctrine, for his word was with power. And in the synagogue there was a man which had a spirit of an unclean devil, and cried out with a loud voice, saying, Let us alone. What have we to do with you, You Yahshua of Nazareth?
Right, that's what folks say, man, what you leave it alone? Right, because you got that damn unclean spirit in you. I know why you want me to leave you alone, and I'm going to stay up in your stuff till you get out of there, you get out of here one. Go ahead and read, brother. And I wouldn't do it if it wasn't my job and it wasn't because of my love for you, because y'all know how we do things. We see folks get off into something, we walk on us and man, that's your thing. We go on about our business. But I don't do that. When I see something jump up in one of my classes, I'm going to say something about it. Niggas get rocks in the jaw. Go home and stay home for 3-4 weeks. Go ahead and read. Or either go somewhere else where they can hear some smooth things. Go ahead and read, brother.
Are you come to destroy us? I know you, who you are, the Holy One of Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 35. And Yahshua rebuked him, saying, hold your peace and come out of him. And when the devil had thrown him in the midst, he came out of him and hurt him not. And they were all amazed and spoke among themselves, saying, what a word is this? For with authority and power he commanded the unclean spirits, and they come out. And the fame of him went out into every place of the country round about. And he arose out of the synagogue and entered into Simon's house. And Simon's wife's mother was taken with a great fever, and they besought him for her. And he stood over her and rebuked the fever, and it left her. And immediately she arose and ministered unto them. Now when the sun was setting, all they that had any sick with divers diseases brought them unto him. And he laid his hands on every one of them and healed them. And devils also came out of many, crying out and said, you are the anointed one, the Son of Elohim. And he, rebuking them, suffered them not to speak, for they knew that he was the Messiah.
The devils knew, right? And the people that was healed knew, but I learned the people, you know what they say? He doing that through the devil. Go ahead and read, bro.
Verse 45. And when it was day, he departed and went into a desert place, and the people sought him and came unto him, and stayed him that he should not depart from them. And he said unto them, I must preach the kingdom of Elohim to other cities also, for therefore am I sent. And he preached in the synagogues of Galilee. And it came to pass that, as the people pressed upon him to hear the word of Elohim, he stood by the lake of Gennesaret, and saw 2 ships standing by the lake, but the fishermen were gone out of them, and were washing their nets. And he entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the people out of the ship. And when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep, and let down your nets for a draught. And Simon answering said unto him, Master, we have toiled all the night, and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at your word I will let down the net. And when they had this done, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net broke. And they beckoned unto their partners, which were in the other ships, that they would come and help them. And they came and filled both the ships, so that they began to sink. Verse 8, when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Yahshua's knees, saying, depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Adonai. For he was astonished, and all that were with him, at the draught of the fishes which they had taken.
Right, and they got this draught because they followed their instruction. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 10. And so was also James and Johanan, the sons of Zebedee, which were partners with Simon. And Yahshua said unto Simon, fear not, for henceforth you shall catch men. And when they had brought their ships to land, they forsook all and followed him.
They stopped doing whatever they had to do and follow him, right? Okay, go ahead, bro.
Verse 12. And it came to pass, when he was in a certain city, behold, a man full of leprosy, who seeing Yeshua fell on his face and besought him, saying, Adonai, if you will, you can make me clean. And he put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be you clean. And immediately the leprosy departed from him. And he charged him to tell no man, but go and show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing, according as Moshe commanded, for a testimony unto them. But so much the more went there a fame abroad of him, and great multitudes came together to hear and to be healed by him of their infirmities. But he withdrew himself into the wilderness and prayed. And it came to pass on a certain day, as he was teaching, that there were Pharisees and doctors of the law sitting by, which would come out of every town of Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem, and the power of the Adonai was present to heal them. And behold, men brought in a bed a man which was taken with a palsy, and they sought means to bring him in and to lay him before him. And when they could not find by what way they might bring him in because of the multitude, they went upon the housetop and let him down through the tiling with his couch into the midst before Yeshua. And when he saw their faith, he said unto him, Man, your sins are forgiven you.
Now, watch what they say now. Man, your sins is forgiven you. When you heal somebody, you know what you've done? You've forgiven them of their sins. It shows you the power that Yahweh has given to man, doesn't it? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 21. And the scribes and the Pharisees began to reason, saying, Who is this which speaketh blasphemies? Who can forgive sins but Elohim alone? But when Yeshua perceived their thoughts, he answering said unto them, Why reason you in your hearts? Whether it's easier to say, Your sins be forgiven thee, or to say, Rise up and walk.
What difference does it make? Which one you say? It's the same thing, isn't it? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 24. But that you may know that the Son of Man hath power upon earth to forgive sins, he said unto the sick of the palsy, I say unto you, arise and take up your couch and go into your house. And immediately he rose up before them and took up that whereon he lay and departed to his own house, glorifying Yahweh. And they were all amazed, and they glorified Yahweh and were filled with fear, saying, We have seen strange things today.
Right, but the scribes and the Pharisees and preachers and politicians, what did they say? Man, what you doing carrying that bed on the Sabbath day? He said, man, all I know is whoever healed me told me to take up my bed and walk. And he healed me, and I followed his instructions. I took up my bed and walked. Now, if y'all want to put me out of church, put me out of church. Go on and read, brother.
Verse 27. And after these things, he went forth and saw a publican named Levi sitting at the receipt of custom. And he said unto him, Follow me.
This is Matthew here. His name is Levi, but they call him Matthew. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 28. And he left all, rose up, and followed him. And Levi made him a great feast in his own house, and there was a great company of publicans and of others that sat down with him. But their scribes and Pharisees murmured against his disciples, saying, Why do you eat and drink with publicans and sinners? And Yeshua answering said unto them, They that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance.
Right, I came to call the righteous, see? I didn't come to call the righteous, I come to call sinners. See, that's why y'all finding fault, because y'all think y'all are righteous over much. Y'all wearing these phylacteries and so forth, got all these letters, all this learning, and y'all think y'all righteous because y'all are masters of the law. Right. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 33. And they said unto him, Why do the disciples of Johanan fast often and make prayers, and likewise the disciples of the Pharisees? But yours eat and drink.
Now they picking. Now they're nitpicking on it. keep watching, keep coming here and watch what goes on in this congregation. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 34. And he said unto them, can you make the children of the bridegroom fast while the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days. And he spoke also a parable unto them. No man putteth a piece of new garment upon an old, if otherwise, then both the new maketh a rent, and the piece that was taken out of the new agreeth not with the old. And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottles shall perish. But new wine must be put into new bottles, and both are preserved.
This is why you must have the baptism, so that you become new, so that you can receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. Not to say, oh, I got the gift, this is mine. It's for the edifying of the body of itself in love. Go ahead and read. It's for use. When you get the Spirit, you got to go to work. This is why he give you the Spirit to go to work. And then what happens a lot of times is people get the Spirit and they want to go to work, but they don't want to follow the instructions. They want to work as they see fit to work. Well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Right. Right. Then all the work you're doing is in vain. Yahweh's job gonna get taken care of, but all the work you done is in vain, because the works are given to the congregation, not to no specific person. Go ahead and read, brother.
You know, that reminds me of the murmuring that came up with the disciples who had hired out for a penny. And they knew it was a penny that they hired out for from the beginning, but they had borne the heat of the day. And then when those who came in the 11th hour hired out, and they all got paid, and they all received a penny, they wanted to murmur against what they had already agreed for the man who had given them their due.
Right. Right. We do the same thing. The scripture says, say, repent and be baptized, and you shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost, right? So we say, okay, I'm going to stop doing some of them things I've been doing.
Right.
And then I'm going to get baptized. And then we receive that gift, right? And then what do we do, bro?
Right back to the beggar word.
It's right back to the same thing we was off into before. You know why? We think we're somebody special because we have received the gift, not understanding why the gift is given. The gift isn't given for us to walk around and say, oh, yes, well, I got the Spirit. That's not what it's for. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir.
See, we think that because we've been here a long time, that we should have more prestige in the congregation, that somebody has been here maybe a couple of months. Not necessarily so. Like I said, people come here a long time, they may be doing one job for 8-10 years, and all of a sudden I say, hey, brother or sister, I don't want you to do that job no more. I'm going to put that young brother, that young sister over there in that job. Then niggas got rots in the job. See? Niggas want to upbraid and run around and talk. Man, you see what the elder did? Right. The elder's in charge. Go ahead and read, brother. I took you out of that cause, keep from causing you some problem later on down the line, because you get beside yourself. You don't seem to think what this gift is for. It's for the church, not for you. Go ahead and read, brother.
Luke chapter 5, verse 39. No man also having drunk old wine straightway desireth new, for he says the old is better. And it came to pass on the second Sabbath after the first, that he went through the cornfield, and his disciples plucked
Do that verse for me again, please.
And it came to pass on the second Sabbath after the first, that he went through the cornfield, and his disciples plucked the ears of corn, and did eat, rubbing them in their hands. And certain of the Pharisees said unto them, why do you that which is not lawful to do on the Sabbath days? And Yahshua answering them said, have you not read so much as this, what David did when himself was hungry, and they which were with him, how he went into the house of Elohim, and did take and eat the showbread, and gave also to them that were with him? which it is not lawful to eat, but for the priest alone.
But there's another thing you have to look at in that story. David and his men had been out in the wilderness over 3 weeks, and them brothers was purified. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 5. And he said unto them, that the Son of Man is Adonai also of the Sabbath. And it came to pass also on another Sabbath that he entered into the synagogue and taught. And there was a man whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and Pharisees watched him, whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said to the man which had the withered hand, rise up and stand forth in the midst. And he arose and stood forth. Then said Yeshua unto them, I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath days to do good, or to do evil, to save life, or to your hand? And he did so, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And they were filled with madness, and communed one with another what they might do to Yeshua.
Right, and we had the same problem that come up in this congregation here. It wasn't with the hand, but we can use this for a parable. On the Sabbath day, we used to try, the family used to try to bring enough food to feed everybody. Right? Niggas got all indignant. Man, you can't light no fires on the Sabbath day. You can't do this on the Sabbath day. We ain't gonna bring, well, what we gonna do, we gonna bring some fruit. Bring what you want to bring. But stop talking about what these sheep here doing, right? Well, according to the scripture, you can't light no fire on the Sabbath day. Well, why the hell do you turn on your thermostat in your house in the wintertime on the Sabbath day? Don't you light a fire? Huh? When you start the ignition on your car, don't you light a fire? Okay. Right. Right. Ain't nothing to say it. Okay. But see, though these are they who think that they are more holy and more righteous than other folks. But see, when things go on in this congregation, if I tell somebody, say, well, okay, we can go ahead and deal with this, then I bear the charge then, don't I? Okay, if anybody come in judgment for who it's going to be, me, right? So do your job. So all you got to do is do your job. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 12.
Because I'm not going to tell nobody, make somebody just say, well, hey, go ahead and sin against your God. If anything come up that somebody that's got to be done, what I'd rather do is this. I'll stand in that breach myself. Then the sheep won't be counted guilty for it, right? Right. This is love, that we deal with each other as we have to. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 12. And it came to pass in those days that he went out into a mountain to pray, and continued all night in prayer to Yahweh. And when it was day, he called unto him his disciples, and of them he chose 12, whom also he named apostles: Simon, whom he also named Peter, and Andrew his brother, James and Johanan, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew and Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon called Zelotes, and Judas the brother of James, and Judas Iscariot, which also was the traitor. And he came down with them, and stood in the plain, in the company of his disciples, and a great multitude of the people out of all Judea and Jerusalem, and from the seacoast of Tyre and Sidon, which came to hear him, and to be healed of their diseases, and they that were vexed with unclean spirits, and they were healed. And the whole multitude sought to touch him, but there went virtue out of him, and healed them all.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 1. Now, the Messiah knew that Yehuda Iscariot was going to betray him, right? But you know what? He still gave that brother that gift when he sent out those disciples 2 by 2. He still gave that brother that gift and told him to go out and use that gift, didn't he? He knew what was going to happen. Like I said, let the wheat and the tares go up together. Go ahead and read St. Matthew 5 and pick that up at verse 1, my brother.
And seeing the multitude, he went up into a mountain. And when he was set, his disciples came unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Amen.
Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
You know why the meek will inherit the earth? Because the meek is going to obey their Creator. They're going to stumble and fall, but they're going to walk in righteousness. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 6. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled.
Most folks don't hunger and thirst after righteousness. They hunger and thirst after knowledge. And knowledge is a very vain thing when you don't use it in righteousness. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 7. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Elohim.
Why? Because the pure in heart is going to walk in the Spirit out there. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of
When
Elohim.
you teach the word of Yahweh, this is what you're teaching. You're teaching peace to these heathens. And even Israel. I'm talking about even Israel. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
When you do your job and you're doing a good job, you're going to always find out folks will be behind their whispering. They ain't going to do it. And don't even want you to do it. Every time you vip a bop, here's somebody, did you see what's happened, child? Child, did you see this? Right. Busybodies in other men's matters. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 11. Blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
And what they have a tendency to do is get in little cliques. Yeah. We got several of them in here. Go ahead and read. But you can tell the workers, you know why, they're always on the case. Regards to what go down, the workers in this congregation is always on the case, right? Them cliques separate themselves. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 13. You are the salt of the earth.
You are the salt of the earth. But if you've lost your savor, wherewith shall you be salted? You're thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden under the foot of men. If you come to church and ain't going to work, what's the sense of coming? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
Praise Yah.
Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify Yahweh, which is in heaven.
Amen. And surely the works that we do at NCCI are good, trying to reach the lost sheep and giving them the word of Yahweh. These are good works, right? But what people have a tendency to do, they don't look at your good works. What they do is look at your bad side. You know why? They become judges and executioners. Go ahead and read, brother.
Brother, what they come for is to
Socialize.
exactly and to seduce.
Of course.
To seduce.
Of course.
And the weak sheep can hear their poison that they will spread and maybe be caught up in the same assimilation they are caught up in.
Then they have a confidant, don't they?
Right. An open ear.
Right. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
And when we get these confidants and so forth and so on, what we have a tendency to do is to destroy that person. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
Praise Yah.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
It didn't say whosoever shall break one of these commandments shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. It said whosoever shall break one of these commandments and teach men so. Right. In other words, we get off into our little atrocities and so forth and so on. It's a child, come here.
Right.
Right. Go ahead. Then we slay somebody, right? And say, ain't I in sport? Go and read, brother.
But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Amen.
You have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill. And whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire.
Commandment number 6, right? But yet still, folks say we are not under the law. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 23. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and thou rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there your gift before the altar, and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift.
And we don't do this. What we'll do is we'll have rocks in our jaws about somebody, and we'll have something against somebody, and we'll fall down on our knees and just pray like it ain't nothing happening. And then a lot of times we pray against that person, but we won't be reconciled. And if you're reconciled, then your prayers are not heard. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 25.
If you're not reconciled, I'm sorry. If you're not reconciled, your prayers are not heard. Y'all forgive me for that.
Verse 25. Agree with your adversary quickly while you are in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver you to the judge, and the judge deliver you to the officer, and you be cast into prison.
Right. Police stop you. Ain't no sense in running off at the mouth about why he stopped you. He stopped because he wanted to. Give him the driver's license and insurance and shut your mouth. Go ahead, brother. You might go home. Because if you get a little belligerent, you might go to the funeral home. Or go down there to that prison they got down there. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 26. Yes, I say unto you, you shall by no means come out thence till you have paid the uttermost farthing.
Right. You couldn't keep your mouth shut. You go to court. And instead of you thinking the judge, well, it can't be much for this, and the judge charged you $900. Go ahead and read, brother. Then you calling everybody trying to borrow some money. I know I do. Go ahead. I ain't got $900 laying around with it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 27. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery.
Commandment number 7, right? It's a criminal act, right? Go ahead, brother.
But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her have committed adultery with her already in his heart.
And vice versa. And you know what? Folks come in looking for a mate. Verse 31, bro. Verse 31.
It hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. Again, you have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto Yahweh your oath. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is Elohim's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. You have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that you resist not evil. But whosoever shall smite you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also.
Now that don't mean for brother come up here and knock you upside your head. You ain't supposed to knock him back upside his head. What that mean is this: if somebody do you wrong, don't just cut the person off. Give them an opportunity to do you wrong again, and again, and again. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 40. And if any man will sue you at the law and take away your coat, let him have your cloak also. And whosoever shall compel you to go a mile, go with him too. Give to him that asks of thee, and from him that will borrow of you, turn not you away. You have heard that it have been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy.
Commandment number 10, right? Go ahead, brother.
But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust.
Right. This is why a lot of times it's coming to pass, and y'all that's been in the congregation a long time know this to be true. A lot of times things has come up, and instead of you putting unruly folks away from you, what happened? You suffer that. You suffer that because you want people to receive their salvation. But what people have a tendency to do is take that kindness for a weakness, and then they do what they want to do. They don't follow no instruction. They do just what they want to do. And nobody says anything. You know why? He's hanging. That person is hanging them on their own selves. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 46. For if you love them which love you, what reward have you? Do not even the publicans the same? And if you salute your brethren only, what do you more than others? Do not even the publicans so? Be you therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect.
Amen.
Take heed that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven.
Right, and people are quick to say, I did this, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, right? Okay, so you want all the glory instead of giving the glory to the Spirit. Now we put ourselves in a position to where we are glorying over the one that gave us the Spirit in honor. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 2. Therefore, when you do your alms, do not sound a trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Truly I say unto you, they have their reward. But when you do alms, let not your left hand know what your right hand doeth, that your alms may be in secret, and Yahweh which seeth in secret himself shall reward you openly. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Truly I say unto you, they have their reward.
Anytime people do anything to be seen of men or to be glorified of men, they already have their reward. Their ego is satisfied, right? Right. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 6.
They done what? Ego edged God out, right? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 6. But you, when you pray, enter into your closet, and when you have shut your door, pray to Yahweh which is in secret, and Yahweh which seeth in secret shall reward you openly. But when you pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not you therefore like unto them, for Yahweh knoweth what things you have need of before you ask him. After this manner therefore pray you, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Glorify God, right? Go ahead, brother.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Now ask your petition, right? Go ahead, brother.
And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
In other words, help us do this thing because we can't do it. Because you only have the power. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 14. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Moreover, when you fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But you, when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, that you appear not unto men to fast, but unto Yahweh which is in secret. And Yahweh which seeth in secret shall reward you openly.
Praise Yah.
Lay not up for yourselves treasure upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
It all depends on what you deem to be your treasure. Right? Whatever you deem to be your treasure, if you put it before Yahweh, that is your God. Go ahead and read, bro.
Verse 22. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. But if your eye be evil, your whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Yah and Mammon.
You can't serve Yahweh in natural things. You must serve Yahweh, and he will give you the natural things that you need. Verse 31, if that's what he wants you to have. But a lot of times, we pray for things, don't get them, then we go get them another way, don't we? Then we turn around and say, well, Yahweh gave me this. Verse 31.
Therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Europeans seek.
And we just like it.
Right.
The more we get, the more we want. Go ahead, brother.
For Yahweh knoweth that you have need of all these things.
He knows what you have needs of, and he take care of your need. But see, we go beyond need a lot of times. We go off into desire. And that's what causes our big problem, that desire. Desires of the flesh. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 33. But seek you first the kingdom of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Right. Once the kingdom is set up, all these things will be added unto you, right? And then you'll be able to give these things to your children and your children forever. But if you lay it up here on earth, then in the ending of things, you're going to have to leave it all when you get out here anyways. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 34. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
This is why in my lifestyle, I live from day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute. I don't plan nothing because I don't know what Yahweh is going to bring up tomorrow. Amen. Go ahead and read, brother.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 1. Judge not, that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged. And with what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdeth you the mote that is in your brother's eye, but considereth not the beam that is in your own eye?
Because they think they're more righteous than thou. That's why they behold the mote in people's eyes and don't see nothing with their own selves. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 4. Or how will you say to your brother, let me pull out the mote out of your eye, and behold, a beam is in your own eye? You hypocrite! First cast out the beam out of your own eye, and then shall you see clearly to cast out the mote out of your brother's eye. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast you your pearls before the swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you, whom if his son asks bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he asks a fish, will he give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? Therefore, all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do you even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Enter you in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
And half of them don't believe in the Messiah, or even they believe in the Messiah, in a Messiah, and they go into churches on the wrong day. And the ones that don't believe in the Messiah, they twice dead anyways, right? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 16, you shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. Not everyone that says unto me, Adonai, Adonai, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Adonai, Adonai, have we not prophesied in your name, and in your name have cast out devils, and in your name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity.
He didn't say I knew you at one time. He said I never knew you because you're a worker of iniquity. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And everyone that heareth these things of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And it came to pass, when Yahshua had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine. For he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Adonai, if you will, you can make me clean. And Yahshua put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be you clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Yahshua says unto him, see, you tell no man, but go your way, show yourself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moshe commanded for a testimony unto them. And when Yahshua was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Adonai, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Yahshua says unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, I am not worthy, and said, Adonai, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers unto me, and I say to this man, go, and he goeth, and to another, come, and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. When Yahshua heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, verily I said unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast into outer darkness, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Yahshua said unto the centurion, go your way, And as you have believed, so be it done unto you. And his servant was healed in the selfsame hour. And when Yeshua was coming to Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid and sick of a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and ministered unto them. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Esaias the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. Now when Yeshua saw great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow you whithersoever you go. And Yeshua says unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man have not where to lay his head.
You can't tell Creflo Dollar that. Creflo Dollar and them folks say Yeshua was a carpenter. So he built subdivisions. He's a rich man. The man said, I ain't got a place to lay my head. Go ahead and read it, bro.
Verse 21. And another of his disciples said unto him, Adonai, suffer me first to go and bury my father.
Which seemed to be a reasonable request, doesn't it? Go ahead and read.
Verse 22. But Yeshua said unto him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, and so much that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Adonai, save us, we perish. And he says unto them, Why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey
He
him?
was the Son of God. That's what manner of man he was. He was a holy man. Yeah, go ahead and read, brother. Elias prayed that it didn't rain. It didn't rain for 3 years and 6 months, didn't it? Joshua Joshua was fighting the battle, and he himself commanded the sun to stand still, and the sun stood still, didn't it? Go ahead and read, brother.
He said, oh, if you have the faith of a mustard seed.
Right. You can say this mountain be cast in the sea, and it begin to do so. Oh, ye of little faith. Go ahead. What we put our faith in is what we can take to the bank.
Right.
Go ahead and read. Right. Faith builds, brother. So go ahead and read.
And when he was come, verse 28, and when he was come to the other side into the country of Gergesenes, there met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with you, Yeshua, you son of Elohim? Are you come here to torment us before the time? And there was a good way off from them a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If you cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said unto them, Go. And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the water. And they that kept them fled, and went their ways into the city, and told everything, and what was befallen to the possessed of the devil. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Yeshua, and when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coast.
Right. You've done them some damage. Done destroyed our herds and everything, man. They wasn't considered about the people that was here. What they was concerned about was their law. So they compelled him to do what? So, man, you get out of our town. We don't want you around here. Go ahead and read, brother.
Matthew chapter 9, verse 1. And he entered into a ship, and passed over, and came into his own city. And behold, they brought to him a man sick of the palsy, lying on a bed. And Yeshua, seeing their faith, said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, be of good cheer, your sins be forgiven you. And behold, certain of the scribes said within themselves, this man blasphemeth. And Yahshua, knowing their thoughts, said, wherefore think you evil in your hearts? For whether it's easier to say, thy sins be forgiven you, or to say, arise and walk. But that you may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins, then says he to the sick of the palsy, arise, take up your bed, and go unto your house. And he arose and departed to his house. But when the multitude saw it, they marveled and glorified Yahweh, which had given such power unto men. And as Yahshua passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of custom, and he says unto him, follow me. And he arose and followed him. And it came to pass, as Yahshua sat at meat in the house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, why eateth your master with publicans and sinners? But when Yahshua heard that, he said unto them, they that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. But go you and learn what that meaneth. I will have mercy and not sacrifice. For I am not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Then came to him the disciples of Johanan, saying, why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples fast not?
Verse 18.
While he spoke these things unto him, behold, there came a certain ruler, and worshipped him, saying, my daughter is even now dead. But come and lay your hand upon her, and she shall live. And Yahshua arose and followed him, and so did his disciples. And behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment, for she said within herself, if I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole.
Now, she had an issue of blood, right?
Mhm.
Well, when he touched her, did he make her, when she touched him, did she make him unclean?
She sure did.
No, she didn't either.
She did? Why not?
Why could she? If he would have been unclean, he couldn't have did the work.
Yeah, that's true. The spirit wouldn't. Yeah, true. Okay. Verse 23. But Yahshua turned about, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort. Your faith hath made you whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. And when Yahshua came into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, he said unto them, give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in and took her by the hand, and the maid arose. And the fame thereof went abroad into all that land. But when Yahshua departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, you son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was coming to the house, the blind men came to him. And Yahshua says unto them, do you believe that I am able to do this? They said unto him, yea, Adonai. Then touched he their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you.
According to your faith, be it unto you. Amen. Go ahead, bro.
Yes, sir. Verse 30. And their eyes were open, and Yahshua straightly charged them, saying, see that no man know it. But they, when they were departed, spread abroad his fame in all that country.
Mm-hmm.
And they went out. Verse 32. As they went out, behold, they brought to him a dumb man possessed with a devil. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spoke. And the multitudes marveled, saying, it was never so seen in Israel. But the Pharisees said, he cast out devils through the prince of the devils.
He cast out devils through the prince of the devils, right? They say, now all these things have never been so much seen in Israel, right? But now they're saying he cast them out by the prince of devils, right? Go ahead, bro.
Well, it looks like what the power is clearly of Yahweh,
Mm-hmm.
but the individual has power through his or her own faith in Yahweh's power.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of the individual's faith, not that they could claim the power of God unless it was God's ability to give it to them, but because of their belief in his power,
Mhm.
the power was then bestowed upon them and revealed to them so that all could be so that the Father could be glorified through their faith.
Of course. See, brother, this is why me myself, this is why I haven't got a job with the Europeans, because I have faith that Yahweh's going to do what he needs to do concerning me, right? This is why I got out of that system of thing. Caused a lot of problems, but so far I haven't went hungry yet. And I knew that Yahweh was going to put together Jacob like a flock, and he is doing that, you see. But that's my charge. My charge is to teach the word of Yahweh, to build a house here in Atlanta. And truly, it's through faith and doing the works that this has been done. Because there's been a lot of times I said, man, I need to go get me a job, for these folks Jake ain't going to do nothing. Jake don't want to be blind all his life.
Right.
But then there's one, then there's two, and then there's three, and once you get that going, you stuck. And then folks get rocks in their jaws because you don't go work on them Europeans' job like they're doing, right? And people want to talk about you. Man, what you need to do, you need to go get you a job. I got a job.
Right.
If you don't think I got a job, what you doing here? Go ahead and read it, brother.
Yes, sir. Matthew chapter 9, verse 35. And Yahshua went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted, and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. Then says he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray you therefore the Adonai of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest.
That he will send forth laborers in his harvest, right? You can tell people the word all day long, but it's Yahweh who sends the laborers. You know them by their fruit. They do the job, and they don't gripe. They just go get the job done. And every time you see it, anytime something come up, I'll do it. Send me. Why can't I do that? Why can't I do this, right? And other folks run from it. Some folks you don't see from one Sabbath to the next one. And them same folks, they don't know where their book is either from one Sabbath to the next one.
Right.
Go ahead and read, brother. They want God in their thought. But when it comes down to doing the actual deeds, man don't want to deal with God. Man want to deal with himself. Man think he God. Go ahead and read, brother.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 1. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now the name of the 12 apostles are these: the first Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and Johanan his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publicans, James the son of Alphaeus, and Lebbaeus, whose surname was Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Yahshua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Europeans, and into any city of the Samaritans enter you not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely you have received, freely give. Provide neither gold, nor silver, nor brass in your purses, nor scrip for your journey, neither two coats, neither shoes, nor yet staves. For the workman is worthy of his meat. And into whatsoever city or town you shall enter, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till you go thence.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come into a house, salute it. And if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it be not worthy, let your peace return to you. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when you depart out of that house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. Yes, I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be you therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But beware of men, but they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues, and you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Europeans. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what you shall speak. For it is not you that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. But when they persecute you in this city, flee you into another. For verily I say unto you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his house?
Right. You know what they call the master? JC.
Right.
I mean, you guys believe in JC. Right.
Go ahead and read, brother. So you know what they think about us, don't you?
Right.
That's why they don't hang out. And that's why I don't hang out with them. Go ahead and read, brother.
Right.
Oh, I know that, brother. I know all about it. There's nothing that goes on in this congregation I don't know about. Absolutely nothing. Go ahead and read. But how can you be in charge of a congregation of the Most High God and junk be going on behind your back and you don't know about it?
Right.
You want to read?
Verse 26. Fear them not, therefore, but there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. What I tell you in darkness, that speak you in light. And what you hear in the ear, that preach you upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear you not, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven.
And confession is not necessarily made with the mouth. Confession is made through your works in the body. Go ahead, brother.
Verse also deny before my Father which is in heaven. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me.
Amen.
He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward.
And what is a prophet's reward? The word of God. The receiving of the word of God. Go ahead, brother.
And he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward.
And what is a righteous man's reward? Holiness unto salvation. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 42. And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of water only in the name of a disciple, yes, I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward.
Amen. I think you want to read that one again, brother. Okay.
Verse 42. And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a disciple, yes, I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward. And it came to pass, when Yeshua had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now when Johanan had heard in the prison the works of the Anointed One, he sent 2 of his disciples and said unto him, Are you he that should come, or do we look for another? Yeshua answered and said unto them, Go and show Johanan again those things which you do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, the dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. And as they departed, Yeshua began to say unto the multitude concerning Johanan, What went you out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? But what went you out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they that wear soft clothing are in king's house. But what went you out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet. And this is he of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before your face, which shall prepare your way before you. Yes, I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there have not risen a greater than Johanan the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he.
Because John would not be there to come under the blood of the Messiah, right? That's why he said that statement. Don't think that John was just some rinky-dink person. John was filled with the Holy Ghost from his mother's womb.
Amen.
John had so much spirit that John didn't even associate with Israel. John went out in the desert, stayed out into the desert till the Spirit sent him back into town. And when he come in telling people, you bunch of snakes, right? Right. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 12. And from the days of Johanan the Baptist unto now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force.
We're going to read about that, what took place in there. So go ahead and read, brother.
For all the prophets and the law prophesied unto Johanan. And if you will receive it, this is Elijah, which was for to come.
This is Elias who was supposed to come, not Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 15. He that have ears to hear, let him hear. But whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets and calling unto their fellows and saying, We have piped unto you, and you have not danced.
Right, we played this tune and you haven't played this game with us. Go ahead, brother.
We have mourned unto you, and you have not lamented. For Johanan came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he have a devil. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Behold a man gluttonous and a wino, a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of her children.
In other words, when you're dealing with Jake, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 20. Then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes.
In other words, if I'd have went to the nations, they would have heard me. They would have saw all these works. But all day long, I've stretched out my hand to a disobedient and gainsaying people. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 22. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the day of judgment than for you. And thou, Capernaum, which are exalted into heaven, shall be brought down to hell. For if the mighty works which have been done in you had been done in Sodom, it would have remained unto this day. But I say unto you, that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for you. At that time Yeshua answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Adonai of heaven and earth, because you have hid these things from the wise and prudent, and have revealed them unto babes. Even so, Yahweh, for so it seemed good in your sight. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father, neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him.
Mm-hmm.
Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Okay, my brother. Go into chapter 12 and pick that up at verse chapter 12 and verse 22.
Then was brought unto him one possessed with a devil, blind and dumb, and he healed him, insomuch that the blind and dumb both spoke and saw. And all the people were amazed and said, Is not this the son of David? But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, This fellow does not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils.
They stand on that who casting out devils by him. Right? Because they hate this brother, because this brother is doing things that they never even considered doing. This brother is teaching them things that they didn't even know of, and they hate this brother for it. You know why? They themselves had titles, and this brother didn't have no title. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 25. And Yeshua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And if I by Beelzebub cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of Elohim, then the kingdom of Elohim is come unto you.
Mm-hmm.
Or else, how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man? Then he will spoil his house. He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad.
Amen. Luke chapter 11 and verse 29. Luke chapter 11 and verse 29. I think that's where I want to go. Luke chapter 11, and I think I want to go to verse 29. Luke chapter 11 and verse, 29.
Yes, sir.
Pick it up to 24, bro.
Yes, sir. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places seeking rest, and finding none, he said, I will return unto my house whence I came out.
Now, when we first get baptized, right, the unclean spirit is cast out, right, and the unclean spirit wanders around in desolate places, right? Go ahead and read, bro.
Yes, sir. Verse 25. And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and gone.
Right, so I'm going to go back to my own house. I don't like these other houses here. So he come back and found that house all lily white, cleaned up, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 26. Then goeth he and taketh to himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself.
7 more, not just he entering in now. Right. Now he brings some other wickedness in there, right? And go ahead and read, brother.
And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
Why? Because a man opened up themselves for that unrighteousness and that uncleanness. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 27. And it came to pass, as he spoke these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice and said unto him, Blessed is the womb that bare you, and the paps which you have sucked. But he said, Yea, rather blessed are they that hear the word of Elohim and keep it.
Right. Don't be working, walk around here and talking about y'all going to be praising Mary and blessing her and so forth. He said, blessed is the word, people that hear that word and then keep that word. Right. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 29. And when the people were gathered thick together, he began to say, This is an evil generation. They seek a sign, and there shall no sign be given it, but the sign of Jonah the prophet. For as Jonah was a sign unto the Ninevites, so shall also the Son of Man be to this generation.
Right. See, that's what Jonah was. He was assigned to the people, right? We're supposed to get off into. See, he said right here, as Jonah was in the belly of the whale 3 days and 3 nights, he was going to be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. Well, we're going to read what he said. He said he's going to rise again the third day. All the apostles say he rose the third day, didn't he? Okay. But see, brothers like to get off in that Herbert Armstrong junk and talk about what he died on Wednesday. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 31. The queen of Sheba shall rise up in the judgment with the men of this generation and condemn them. For she came from the utmost part of the earth to hear the wisdom of Shlomo, and behold, a greater than Shlomo is here. The men of Nineveh shall rise up in the judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. For they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and behold, a greater than Jonah is here.
They repented at Jonah's preaching, and Jonah got mad because he was Jonah got mad because they repented. He didn't want them to be saved, man. Right? Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
But he didn't worry about that going, right?
Right.
When that bad boy.
Right.
With it.
He wasn't concerned about he wasn't concerned about the people dying off, right? But then what did he do? He got mad about the gold. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 23. No man, when he have lighted a candle, put it in a secret place, neither under a bushel, but on a candlestick, that they which come in may see the light. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when your eye is single, your whole body also is full of light.
Okay, my brother, to go to Matthew 12 and pick that up at verse 43. Matthew 12 and verse 43. Some of these things we read, we got to run on up into the rest of it to get. There's certain things that were said in certain different books. And what I'm trying to do is give you the different things, the variations of things that were said in the different books. Go ahead and read. Because a lot of people are going to come to you and say, well, see, there's a controversy here. No, it's not a controversy. Keep on reading. You'll find out it's not. And then you have to consider who was there. Matthew was there. Mark was there, right? John was there. But Luke wasn't there. And a lot of things Luke had to say, Luke got them from the other apostles. So what you do is you deal with who was there. Go ahead and read, brother.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none.
Pick it up at 46.
While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood outside, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, your mother and your brethren stand outside, desiring to speak with you. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother, and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, behold my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of Yahweh, which is in heaven, the same is my brother, sister, and mother.
Amen.
The same day went Yeshua out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat. And the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spoke many things unto them in parables, saying, behold, a sower went forth to sow, and when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up.
That was Adam's generation. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness of earth.
They come around to me, yeah, man, I like that. I want to hear some more of that, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 6. And when the sun was up,
As soon as things get tight up on them now, go ahead, brother.
they were scorched because they had no root, and because they had no root, they withered away.
Correct. And the same thing happened. This was the reason for what happened to the generation of Noah. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 7. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them.
Okay, that had to do with Old Covenant Israel. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 8. But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some an hundredfold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold. Who have ears to hear, let him hear.
This is the new covenant, Israel. It's bringing forth the fruit, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 10. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why do you speak unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given.
Amen.
For whosoever have, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that he have. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Esaias, which says, By hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand. And seeing you shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear.
Amen.
For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear, and have not heard them. Hear you therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catches away that which was sown in his heart.
Right. Then what do they begin? Then come the wicked one. Well, that's not what it means. That's not what I get out of it. What I got out of it was so and so and so and so. So here comes somebody wicked. The word just been sown, and here comes some wicked person. If you got a problem with something, you know where to come. The office is open. This is the reason why we have classes and so forth set up. A lot of times you may go to, people that go to a prophecy class and hear some things, and then they want to go to the history class and hatch that out. No. You hatch that out in the prophecy class. That's what that's all about. History class is for history. If you got a problem with the history class, don't come to me. Go to the history class and see what the deal is. Do some studying on your own. Then if you can't find no relief for it, then you show up. But don't go walk and say, well, I just don't believe that. Go ahead and read, brother.
Last part, verse 19. This is he which receives seed by the wayside. Verse 20. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it, yet have he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended.
Right, he finds fault because he's unstable, right? In verse 19, they end up rejecting the body, don't they? Then they want to do things on their own all the time, don't they? Want to circumvent things that's been set up. Go ahead and read, brother.
Or they dabble in and out of the body.
Correct.
Trying to seduce.
Correct. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 22. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful.
He gives up the word for their what? For their personal vanity. Right. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 23. But he that receives seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some an hundredfold, some 60, some 30. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemies came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did not you sow good seed in your field? From whence then have it tares? He said unto them, An enemy have done this.
An enemy has planted this discord, right? Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Last part, verse 28. The servant said unto him, Will you then that we go and gather them up?
Right. The enemy came and did this. You want us to go out there and put them out of church? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 29. But he said, No, least while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them.
Right, the wheat see it, and then the wheat get indignant about it, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 30. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, gather you together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my
In
barn.
the same way it's going to be done in the ending of time. The tares is going to be gathered together in the valley of Megiddo and destroyed. But the wheat will be gathered in Zion. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 31. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. Another parable spoke he unto them, saying, verse 33, another parable spoke he unto them, the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened.
Mm-hmm.
All these things spoke Yahshua unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spoke he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Yahshua sent the multitude away, and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that
Now
field.
that takes commitment on a person's part, don't it? Right. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 45. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Yahshua says unto them, have you understood all these things? They say unto him, yea, Adonai. Then said he unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. And it came to pass that when Yahshua had finished these parables, he departed thence. And when he was coming to his own country, he taught them in their synagogues, insomuch that they were astonished, and said, from where have this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary, and his brethren James and Joseph and Simon and Judas? And his sisters, are they not all with us? From where then have this man all these things? And they were offended in him. But Yahshua said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, except in his own country and in his own house. And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief.
And what happened was these are the same people, along with the scribes and the Pharisees, that became gospels. It showed that
what these things show is that the works that needed to be done in the changes of man's nature. We become tattlers, busybodies in other men's matters, and we see or hear a thing and draw one-sided conclusion, and then we become talebearers when we sprout our poison to someone else. Surely, idle gossip and idle works done to one's own glory are sisters, and they both come from the devil's workshop. Go on and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Matthew chapter 14, verse 1. At that time Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Yeshua, and said unto his servants, This is Johanan the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on Johanan, and bound him, and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For Johanan said unto him, It is not lawful for you to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he filled the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before him and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask.
Not only had he married the wife, his brother's wife, now he want to deal with his daughter, don't he? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 8. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, Give me here Johanan's Baptist's head in a charger. And the king was sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her. And he sent and beheaded Johanan in the prison. And his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother. And his disciples came and took up the body and buried it, and went and told Yeshua. When Yeshua heard of it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the city. And Yeshua went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages, and buy themselves victuals. But Yeshua said unto them, They need not depart. Give you them to eat. And they say unto him, We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And he said, verse 18, he said, Bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes. And looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat and were filled, and they took up of the fragments that remained 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children. And straightway Yeshua constrained his disciples to get into a ship, and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, Yeshua went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. But straightway Yeshua spoke unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him, and said, Adonai, if it be you, bid me come unto you on the water. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Yeshua. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Adonai, save me.
Adonai, save me. See, we lose our faith when things get kind of troubled and upset. What we do is we lose our faith, and then we begin to sink. we begin to back off on the works that we do. Well, I'm going to stand by and see what's going to go on. I know it's going to go on. You're going to stand by and somebody's going to come and do something you should have done.
Amen.
Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 31. And immediately Yahshua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O you of little faith, why did you doubt? And when they were coming to the ship, the wind ceased. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth you are the Son of Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all that country round about, and brought unto him all that were diseased, and besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment, and as many as touched were made perfectly whole. Then came to Yahshua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, Why do your disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread.
Now they're getting off into nitpicking, like I said before. And once these negative seeds were planted by the adversaries of Yahshua through Satan's use of our preachers and politicians, the common people soon began to reject the Master and his mighty works, which none of their rulers could even could even duplicate. Now our fathers considered the Holy One of Israel to be a threat to their Roman appointed authority. So they began to seal the Master's fate. Professing to be wise, they never considered that they were fulfilling prophecies pertaining to their evil deeds toward the Messiah.
Amen.
Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 3. But he answered and said unto them, Why do you also transgress the commandment of Elohim by your tradition? For Elohim commanded, saying, Honor thy father and mother, and he that curses father or mother, let him die the death.
Mm-hmm.
But you say, Whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, It is a gift, by whatsoever you might be profited by me, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have you made the commandment of Elohim of none effect by your tradition.
Verse 21, my brother.
Then Yahshua went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Adonai, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she cried after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Adonai, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. And she said, True, Adonai, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Then Yahshua answered and said unto her, O woman, great is your faith. Be it unto you even as you will. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahshua departed from thence and came nigh unto the Sea of Galilee, and went up into a mountain and sat down there. And great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others, and cast them down at Yahshua's feet, and he healed them. Insomuch that the multitude wondered when they saw the dumb to speak, the maimed to be whole, the lame to walk, and the blind to see. And they glorified the Elohim of Israel.
16 and 1.
You know, Elder, it seems quite clear here that Yahweh sent his son to the children of Israel. And without respect of person, he also set an order in which these things ought to be done. But it seems also more evident that as long as the nations have faith in the power and appointment of Yahweh, to whom he will, they too can receive of the gift that Yahweh has given to his son as well as his people.
Of course. Why? Because he's the creator of all flesh, and God don't, Yahweh don't wish the death of any man. But see, man choose their own way. Man choose what they want to do, when they want to do good, and when they want to do evil, right? And what did he say? Seeing that I wish you were hot or cold, but seeing that you lukewarm, I'm going to
spew you out of my mouth. And then once they get spewed out, they may not leave. You know why? The wheat and the tares are growing up together. Go ahead and read, Steve.
Yeah, brother, it seems like these people, our forefathers, were also a bunch of leeches, weren't
Of course they
they? Just
will.
like we were. Now, every time this multitude came around this brother, and he performed those miracles, they got on away from him.
Of course,
So they
brother.
needed him again.
They hung around the brother because he fed them. He healed the sick. He raised the dead and everything. So they hung with him because he did do those things. But when them Romans came and got him, yeah, everybody left, didn't they? Go ahead and read it, brother. That's all it was. For them, there was something that was going on, and they was grabbing onto it. They didn't care nothing about the Messiah. They saw the mighty works, and he fed them and so forth and so on, and they were satisfied with that, man. But when, like I said, when adversity came up, brother, everybody fled and left their brother standing by himself.
Well, it also was clear that he made it evident that to the Gentiles, I was not sent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And he
Mhm.
told that to his disciples, but yet the Gentiles could receive as long as they came through his people.
Mhm.
But we today and they then wanted to still follow the Gentiles rather than going with the people, even though they're gainsaying and disobedient people. They still wanted to follow the Gentiles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We do the same thing today. Ain't nothing strange about that, my brother. Where you at, Steve?
Matthew chapter 16, verse 1.
Okay, pick that up in Matthew chapter 16 and verse 13.
When Yahshua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, Some say that you are Johanan the Baptist, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He says unto them, But whom say you that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, You are the Messiah, the Son of the living Elohim. And Yahshua answered and said unto him, Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto you, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say also unto you, that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven.
Now, Peter was the chief apostle and the chief elder by gift from Yahweh, right? Now, we know that the first key was used in Acts 2, verse 37 through 39, which concerned the baptism with water, which symbolizes his blood, and the receiving of the gift to edify the synagogue of that the Spirit had assigned each individual to. Now, the next key was used in Acts 10, verse 1 through 48, when the rock, Peter, opened the door to the Europeans, that the Master might be a light to enlighten the Europeans and a Savior of all mankind. Go ahead and finish reading, brother.
Verse 20. Then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Yahshua the Anointed One. From that time forth began Yahshua to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day.
Mm-hmm.
Then Cephas took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from you, Adonai, this shall not be unto you.
Mm-hmm.
But he turned and said unto Cephas, Get you behind me, Satan. You are an offense unto me, for you savoreth not the things that be of Elohim, but those that be of men.
Mm-hmm.
Then said Yahshua unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross, and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
Mm-hmm.
For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then shall he reward every man according to his works. Yes, I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
Now I've heard people say, well, see, it was people that wasn't gonna die until the Messiah returns on this earth. Then they went off into that mothership junk that they want to talk, and it's not even talking about that whatsoever. His kingdom came when? At Pentecost. Right after his death at Pentecost. So what we talking about? Maybe 6 months later. So it was people that wasn't going to taste death for those 6 months. Go ahead and read, brother.
Matthew chapter 17, verse 1. And after 6 days, Yeshua took Cephas, James, and Johanan his brother, and brought them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moshe and Elijah talking with them. Then answered Cephas and said unto Yeshua, Adonai, it is good for us to be here. If you will, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for you, and one for Moshe, and one for Elijah. While he yet spoke, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear you him.
Now, this is the second time he spoke, right? Okay. Now, I might be wrong on that. He might have spoke another time. So if anybody find any place in where he go, spoke another time, don't go tell folks. Well, the elder told a lie. It wasn't the second time he spoke. It was the third time. What the hell does that got to do with your salvation? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 6. And when the disciples heard it, they fell upon their face and were sore afraid. And Yeshua came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Yeshua only. And as they came down from the mountain, Yeshua charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elijah must first come? And Yeshua answered and said unto them, Elijah truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elijah is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them.
This is what it meant when the kingdom of heaven has suffered violence, and the violence has taken it by force. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 13. Then the disciples understood that he spoke unto them of Johanan the Baptist. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him and saying, Adonai, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed, for oftentimes he falleth into the fire, and often into the water. And I brought him to your disciples, and they could not cure him.
His brother was an epileptic. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 17. Then Yeshua answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Yeshua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Yeshua apart and said, Why could not we cast him out? And Yeshua said unto them, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you should say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. And while they abode in Galilee, Yeshua said, tribute money came to Cephas and said, Does not your master pay tribute? He said, Yes. And when he was coming to the house, Yeshua prevented him, saying, What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of strangers? Cephas says unto him, Of strangers. Yeshua says unto him, Then of the children free. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go you to the sea, and cast a hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up, and when you have opened his mouth, you shall find a piece of money. That take and give unto them for me and you.
Amen.
At that same time came the disciples unto Yeshua, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?
Mm-hmm.
And Yeshua called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except you be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Because little children are programmable. It's easy to program children, little children, and their mind absorb things like a dry sponge, doesn't it? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 4. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven.
Right, then he'll become a servant once they humble themselves. But people don't like to humble themselves. People like to walk hardy, talk big, deep talk, right? And not humble themselves. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 5. And whosoever shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he would drown in the depth of the sea.
This is why I always tell y'all, be careful what y'all say about each other. Be careful what you say about each other, because the angels of Yahweh are listening. And you're gonna have to give an account for all these words. See, but we quick to find fault with other people, not understanding that everybody in here have a skeleton in their closet someplace. Some of us got a whole closet full of skeletons. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 7. Woe unto the world because of our offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come. But woe to that man by whom the offense comes.
Amen.
Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend you, cut them off and cast them from you. It is better for you to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire.
Right. If somebody in your household offend you, it don't make no difference how close they are to you. You better get rid of them. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 9. And if your eye offend you, pluck it out and cast it from you. It is better for you to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell fire. Take heed that you despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven.
Amen.
For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost. How think you, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, does he not leave the 99 and go up into the mountains and seek that which is gone astray? And if so be that he find it, verily I say unto you, he rejoices more of that sheep than of the 99 which went not astray. Even so, it is not the will of Yahweh which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there. And what we'll do next week is we'll go ahead and pick up the death of this brother. We went through the biggest part of what his teaching was all about. And what his teaching was really about was obedience to the will of God, and through obedience the power that you would receive of the true and living God if you have faith, and if you exercise the will of God in faith. And next week, what we're going to do is we're going to go through and show that deal with the sacrifice of the Lamb, to show you that there's nothing new under the sun, and there's quite a few of us that's going to have to give it up before this whole ordeal is over. So what you have to do is this. Before you get in that pool back there, you need to count the cost. Because you can start, a lot of people have come through here. It's been 1,000 people come through here, and they start to build a house, and you get to reading this word, and folks get to getting them out of here. You know why? They don't like it. People don't like to walk in righteousness. People like to walk in their own self-righteousness, and it's not going to work. What Yahweh is going to do, he's going to have judgment without mercy upon those that have had no mercy. That's about all I'm going to do. I know all this reading here is kind of boring, just like it was when we came up through that Old Testament. I know it's all kind of boring, but believe one thing. You need this, because these things that we've been reading point to what you're going to have to be about for your salvation, because
some of y'all know that if somebody come up to you and say, look, you either gonna take this mark or get your brains blown out. And you looking at, he just killed somebody over there, and he coming at you, 90% of us gonna take that mark. That's about all I'm gonna do. Do we have any announcements?